Well, good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Petra, Weldes, the spiritual director here. And we are diving deeper and deeper and deeper into the development of consciousness this month as we are moving through the four kingdoms of consciousness. And today we're moving into the third kingdom, the kingdom there is a power for good in the universe and we can allow it to use us. This is the kingdom where life is moving through me. And that song is a beautiful, one of the most perfect representations of Kingdom 3 consciousness, to allow Spirit to move through us. And so we're going to be exploring more deeply into that. How do we invite it? How do we participate in it? And how do we allow that consciousness to develop in each of us? So we're just delighted that you're with us this morning.
I'm Petra Weldes, Senior Minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas. And we're delighted that you found us here on the web. You can find our Sunday services on our website by every Wednesday. And we love that you can look at us online and explore these spiritual teachings. Feel free to explore our archives. It goes back a number of years with lots of special topics and amazing speakers. You can also sign up for our email news, My Daily Words, and my blog, Spiritual Living with Dr. Petra. If you're looking for a spiritual community, come visit us. Or if you're just in Dallas, drop on by. We'd love to give you a hug. Welcome home.
Let me be a beacon. Let me be a radiant star. Let me be a beacon, shining who you are. Let me be the miracle I've been dreaming of. Let me be a lantern of your love. Shine through me, shine through me. Let the light within me help this troubled world to see. Shine through me, shine through me. Use this willing vessel, Holy Spirit, shine through me. If a friend is weary, I will come and take his part. If a child is hungry, I'll give out of my heart. In the darkest hour, I will lend a light from above. Let me be a lantern of your love. Shine through me, shine through me. Let the light within me help this troubled world to see. Shine through me, shine through me. Use this willing vessel, Holy Spirit, shine through me. Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. spirit needs. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be.
Lainey Bernstein.
Yay, thank you so much, Lainey, Andrew, Jonathan, and Matt. Thank you so much. All right, so we are continuing to move through the states and stages in the development of consciousness and thinking about how we can contribute to our own development and actively participate in deepening our walk with Spirit. So we're moving into that paradoxical moment where we surrender into our own greatness. And so as we've been talking about this, you're becoming very familiar with our little chart here. Victimhood is Kingdom 1. I am the victim, and life is being done to me. It's all about blame out there, and I don't have any way of doing anything but become a victim. And so we spent a little bit of time there, and we talked about the fact that the way out of victim consciousness is to take responsibility. The portal of responsibility is the way out of victim consciousness. I'm either responsible for the mess that I made, and I clean it up somehow, or I discover my own ability to respond to whatever is going on. And I get to choose how I want to respond. I get to decide how I want to behave. I get to act in ways that are in alignment with what I desire, what I want. And this Kingdom 2 is a really powerful place where we begin to really take on the things that we learned in kindergarten. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Your attitude makes a difference. And the way in which you claim you're good and walk around in the world really allows you to attract the life of your dreams, to create the life that you choose. And this is a powerful place where we're building and developing our spiritual and mental muscles, the mental muscle of choosing and deciding and acting on those things that we have said yes to, that we've said, yes, this is my life. This is my life. Now, one of the things that we'll notice as since we're working with consciousness, and we talked about what consciousness is, partly it's that ability to be aware, right? It's our awareness of being aware and discovering that we can be aware of what's going on and that can really inform our alignment with our spiritual truth, whether or not we're in alignment with spiritual truth, whether we're behaving, thinking, and being in alignment. And so we are exploring consciousness and exploring being conscious. So one of the things that we notice about this four grid, you'll see this four grid a lot. It's particularly evident in Ken Wilber's work in integral theory, but there's lots of maps that use this four grid. And so you'll notice that grids 1 and 2, this is about the self. This is about the small self. Either I'm a victim or I'm the one in charge. And so Kingdoms 1 and 2 really relate to the development of our healthy ego, the small self, that egoic way that allows us to maneuver in the world. Now, let me be really very clear. I think we make a mistake when we make the ego wrong. I don't think the ego is bad and wrong. Actually, it's a required construct. It's a required mental and psychological construct that actually allows us to maneuver in the space-time continuum. However, it's not enough. That's what we discover. We discover that as we begin to really move in the world and create the life of our dreams, we discover that it's not big enough. And so the move into Kingdom 3 and Kingdom 4, do you see they're about the self with the capital S? So you can see that kingdoms 1 and kingdom 2 are the self with the small s. We might call that our human self, our egoic self. And kingdoms 3 and 4 really are moving us into living from the self with a capital S, which is the I that I am, the spiritual reality of who we are. And then if you look at kingdoms 2 and 4, it's really about acting in the world, being in the world, moving out into the world in a very direct and concrete way. Oopsie, went backwards, sorry. And kingdoms 1 and 3, it's about allowing. It's the receptive, allowing side of life. And so, of course, in kingdom 1, we're allowing ourselves to be victimized. We're allowing ourselves to feel like a victim. Whereas in kingdom 3, we're allowing spirit to shine through us. We're allowing the power and the presence to move through us. Because do you see, we're in allow with a capital S. So we're allowing the self with a capital S, the I that I am, to move through us. Kingdom 2, we're acting out of the small self, not in a bad way, in a powerful way, in a way that has allowed us to really learn about choice and responsibility and decision making. But it still often can be from the small self. Ernest Holmes says at one point, it's a good thing that we don't necessarily always get what we want, because we don't always want things that are good for us, do we? Yeah, like that third piece of cake, somebody else's partner, or the job. Okay, I know. Or the job that somebody else has, or the home, or whatever it is. Or we decide that, that we want those things that we're addicted to. So we don't always want things that are good for us. And part of Kingdom 2, the project in Kingdom 2, is to discover that. We are actually being educated about our choices. Choice living in love. Oh, wow, this is really working pretty good. Choice living in resentment. Oh, not so much. It doesn't feel so good. Do you see? So Kingdom 2, we're learning, and our choices and our actions, and we're actually being educated about that. Now, there comes a point in Kingdom 2, as we are developing that consciousness, where we really get to that place where we think, wait, there's something more to life than this, don't we? Or we recognize, while this is good, we recognize that there's actually something larger going on. Or we discover that the things that we want aren't always coming from the deepest truth of who we are. That it's coming from some other, idea that we have about it, some tape, some media, whatever it is. And we begin to ask ourselves, there must be something more to life. There must be a deeper reality. Now, you'll notice that the move from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3 is a slide downward. Now, in our positive, practical spirituality, we don't really like to slide downward. We like to go up all of the time. And yet, this is a very deliberate move, this slide downward, because this portal, whereas the portal from Kingdom 1 to Kingdom 2 is the portal of responsibility. It's like, yes, I take responsibility. The portal from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3, surrender. The portal from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3 is surrender. It is the portal of self-transcendence. Do you see, we're transcending the small self to move to the divine self, the self with a capital S. The truth of who we are. And so surrendering allows us to hold a little bit less tightly onto how life is supposed to be. And do you see, we're moving into the allowing aspect of life, where we're allowing life to unfold. We're allowing it to be what it is. We're allowing ourselves to move from the divine within us. We're allowing spirit to move as us. These are all the ways in which we can talk about how we surrender. And again, I want to say we're surrendering the ego. First of all, you can't surrender an ego you don't have. So that's why the project in Kingdom 2 is so important. You're actually developing a healthy ego. The ability to choose and act and decide. We can't surrender something we haven't actually grown. But now we surrender that egoic self, not because it's bad and wrong, but because it isn't enough anymore. Ernest Holmes says, Spirit can only do for us what it can do through us. And what it does through us is measured by the level of our acceptance, our allowing of the limitless possibilities of the divine. Sometimes our choices are limited only by what we can imagine or what we can think or how we can figure. I've got to figure it out. And we can be limited in that. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be specific. If that's what we want, that's what we want, and that's okay. And there's a place where we are allowing and opening to something larger. And so we surrender our limited ideas, and we surrender our ideas that hold us back, our resentments, our littleness, our old tapes, I'm not good enough, nobody loves me, whatever those are. We are surrendering all of those to move into this place where it is done through me. I am a channel for life. There's a power for good in the universe, and it uses me. Not only do I use it, but it uses me. Rumi says this, how did you get here? Close your eyes and surrender. They are the chosen ones who have surrendered. The hurt that we embrace becomes joy. And so we actually surrender the very things that we've been clinging to, the very things that we've been holding on to that have defined us. We're going to now surrender them, particularly those stories that we've told about who we are and how life is. We surrender those because we're moving into that place of the truth of who we are, the self with the capital S. And we want to allow that part of us to shine through. The other thing that we surrender here in this move from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3 is that we surrender this notion that by getting more goodies, we'll be happy. Now, there's nothing wrong with goodies. Believe me, not one thing wrong with goodies. There's not one thing wrong with having a prosperous, healthy, wealthy life. And yet we discover that in and of itself, that doesn't make us happy. What we discover is that when we are true to the truth of who we are, those things are an expression of life. The expression of how we want to move in the world. And so we move from getting to giving. We surrender this idea that if I just had a promotion or I just had more money or I just had this or I just had that, then I would be happy. And we realize that we have to be that love and joy, allow it to flow through us, allow prosperity to flow through us. We actually have to give the very things that we want to receive. And so we move from getting to giving. And not just getting, and not just in that law of circulation, but also recognizing that we're not here to acquire a life. We're not. We're here to express life. We're here to express our gift. We're here to be all that we can be, that self with a capital S. We're here to allow that to shine out. And it will express in the very physical, material things that we need to express who we are. Do you see? So we don't have to give up the goodies, but we recognize that they aren't the things that are making us happy. It's the being who we are, allowing life to move through us, giving our gift that is fulfilling, our contribution that is fulfilling. And everything that we need that allows us to give our contribution, that's what we attract to us. Do you see? And so we're moving the locus of happiness and joy from the things outside of ourselves to the truth of who we are. Through me, I am a channel through which life is moving. So this is the place where we begin to really embrace this idea that we are an incarnation of the divine. This self with a capital S, this I that I am, is actually the very reality of life itself moving as us. We're not something dropped onto this planet and then God's going to do it for us or do it to us. We're actually the very incarnation of life itself. And our job is to open like a flower Do you see? And allow life to pour itself out. The rose doesn't stay closed into a bud. It opens and allows its fragrance and its beauty to flow out. That's what we're here to do, is to incarnate to express the incarnation that we are, the very life that we are, and to allow it to move. So, Ernest Holmes says this, there is a life force. There is a life force in the universe flowing through us. We cannot change it. We can only use it. There is an energy forever taking form. We cannot destroy it. We can only give form to it. There's a life force that's moving through us. This is the dance that we're doing with creation. There's a life force that moves through us, and then our choices give it form. And do you see, we are using the very mental muscle, the very spiritual muscle that we cultivated in Kingdom 2, we're using now in Kingdom 3 to allow that life force to move through us. Do you see, we couldn't choose to open ourselves up to the intuition, to the guidance, to the presence of spirit as it moves through us. We couldn't open ourselves to it if we couldn't choose and we didn't have the mental muscle or the spiritual awareness to actually make that choice. Do you see? So we're bringing all that we have cultivated in Kingdom 2, we're bringing it right into Kingdom 3. Ken Wilber calls it transcend and include. We're actually including those very things that we've developed that are now allowing us to be the place where this life force is moving through us. And then we get to actually choose the form that it's going to take. And that's what we learned in Kingdom 2. We learned how to choose. And we learn how to choose to align ourselves with life and allow it to move through us. So this life force is always moving. Now, this can look a lot like Kingdom 1. Kingdom 3 and Kingdom 1 can be a little confusing. So Kingdom 3 is not, God, please fix it for me. I don't know what to do. God, please fix it for me. Okay? That's Kingdom 1. Somewhere there's a God out there, and God knows what to do, and God's going to handle it, and I don't have to take any responsibility for it. All I have to do is ask. Please, beg, plead, pray, whatever it is. Please just fix it for me. That's Kingdom 1 consciousness. Kingdom 3 consciousness is, I know that there is a power and a presence in the universe. I know it has the wisdom and intelligence to handle this. I am going to choose to step my littleness out of the way and allow the guidance and the wisdom of the universe to flow through me, to show me what to do. Do you see how very different that is? It's very intentional. It's a very powerful place of deep consciousness. It is a consciousness and awareness that says, I am choosing to set aside my fear. I'm choosing to set aside my resentment. I'm choosing to set aside my confusion. I'm choosing to set aside that part of me that says, oh, well, I don't know how to do it. That part of me that says, well, I can't figure this out. I'm setting all of those things aside, and I'm trusting this power and presence that is the wisdom and intelligence that is managing the universe. Managing the universe. Surely it can manage this little portion of the universe. Right? My life. My little, balancing my checkbook. Okay, in the ultimate scheme of the universe, balancing my checkbook is a nanosecond. Right? So this ultimate intelligence of the universe, we are deliberately moving aside the things that stand in the way and allowing it to pour through us. Do you see? So it's not, oh God, fix it for me, please. It's a very intentional alignment and an acceptance that there is this power and a presence. And it does know And I'm going to trust it. But do you see that the deciding and the acting that we learned in Kingdom 2, I can now bring into Kingdom 3. Not only am I opening myself up to the wisdom and intelligence, but I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to do what it says. Really? You want me to do what? You want me to go into my boss and tell them the truth? Oh, no, it's much better to CYA. I'm not going to tell them the truth. Do you see? Our intuition, it comes from spiritual wisdom, not worldly wisdom, and our intuition and the guidance from Spirit can tell us to love in the face of anger, be peace in the face of chaos, and the very muscle that we've developed in Kingdom 2 is the thing that allows us to then say, oh my gosh, I'm going to act on this intuition. I'm going to act on this guidance, even if it's a little, out of my comfort zone. It's not exactly how I've behaved in the past. I can now decide to act and behave according to this guidance that I have chosen to allow to move through me. Do you see? So this becomes this really powerful dance that we do. We choose the outcome, and then we allow the law to move us, and then we act upon how the law is guiding us, and then we continue to choose the outcome, and we're continuing to allow the law to move and to act through us and to guide us. And this becomes a powerful dance that we engage in with the universal power and presence. And so we become part of this flow. We're in the flow of our lives. We're listening. We're listening to this inner guidance. We're allowing it, and then we are moving. Now, so somebody has to please tell me which law this is. I know it has a name. Nobody told me at the first service. I'm sure there's somebody in the room here who knows it. You can tell me after service. There's a law that says, right, an object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Inertia, thank you. I knew it had a name. The law of inertia. Right, and so what we don't want to have is inertia. We don't want to just sit there and say, okay, God, lay it on me. Okay, that would be Kingdom 1. Kingdom 3 says, I'm listening, I'm moving. And do you see, as I'm listening and moving, I'm actually in motion. Do you know how much easier it is for the universe to bring in serendipities and coincidences, to manifest angels and help and support and new possibilities when we're actually moving ourselves? Because then we're moving with the process. And we can respond, we can listen and allow, oh, this way, there's help, there's a new idea, and we're getting it from internally, externally, do you see? And we are moving with the process. But we have to participate. That's our part. That's why we take the efficacy of Kingdom 2 into Kingdom 3, so that we're participating, we're moving. And we're allowing ourselves to be moved. In this way, the light shines through us. Love pours out of us. And we actually are moved in the direction that we decided that we wanted to go in. Now, as I said at the first service, I have this big of a talk in this big of a space. So, point number 2, that was point number 1. Point number 2, this is where we really come to the heart of the matter. There is this amazing dance that we're doing because we are both the small self and the self with a capital S. We are both the divine and yet we are incarnated in this experience of life. And the whole point is for self-consciousness to get to unfold and to experience what life is like. And so we're in this constant dance with this universal principle and presence. And so people are asking me and struggling with, okay, do I choose or do I just allow Spirit to move? Am I going to say what I want? Or am I going to let life unfold? Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a little moment. We're going to take a little very left brain side trip, okay? This is the left brain side trip of Thomas Troward. He writes that he's a mental scientist from the early 1900s. Bert Hedden and Tracy Brown do an awesome class on this. When you see that class being offered, run, don't walk, and take it. It provides the wisdom, the deep wisdom, the deep intellectual understanding of how this works. Through me. Thomas Troward says this. He will forgive him, okay, 19th century, right? He didn't know any better. He will thus, he being any person, will thus wisely alternate the personal and impersonal aspects, respectively, between his individual mind and the universal mind. When he is seeking for guidance or strength, he will regard his own mind as the impersonal element, which is to receive personality or impress from the superior mind and force of the greater mind. And when, on the other hand, he is to give out the stores thus accumulated, he must reverse the position and consider his own mind as the personal element and the universal mind as the impersonal, which he can therefore direct with certainty by impressing his own personal desire upon it. So we're alternating between inviting guidance from that infinite wisdom and power and potential that is moving as us, that is seeking to express through us. We're inviting that guidance, that intuition, that inner knowing to move, and then we're deciding. And we're moving it back out into the law, the universal mind, so that it can then manifest. So we're in this constant dance where we're listening, we're inviting guidance, and then we're directing. We're receiving and directing. We're being receptive, and then we're choosing. We're choosing the end result, and then we're allowing the process to unfold. Do you see? It's not an either or. We're in this constant dance, which is why it's so important to develop these things in Kingdom 2, so that in Kingdom 3, we are fully engaged and fully participating. And we're not being superstitious and somehow thinking God is magically going to fix it for us. We're actually participating in the process, but we're also not limiting it with our own small ideas. We're actually allowing for something so much more magnificent than we might even be able to imagine. So, I want to tell you a story. This is a story of a woman who was at her wedding after the wedding had taken place, and at the reception, the toasts had been made, and she got up and she was fingering her strand of pearls, holding onto her strand of pearls, and she wanted to acknowledge her father. And so as she was holding onto her pearls, she said, "I want to tell you a story. When I was a little girl, I was really a little girl, I'd saved up all my money, and I went to the Five and Dime, and I bought myself pearls, beautiful pearls. And I loved those pearls." And she told about how she wore them every day. And she wore them with whatever clothes she was wearing. And she would sit and she would have her little tea parties with her animal friends and her dolls. And she was wearing her pearls. She wore her pearls so much she slept in them, she ate in them, she took her shower in them, because they were her precious pearls. She had saved her allowance for many weeks to buy this $2.50 string of plastic pearls. And so one night her father came in to the evening to say goodnight and have their little evening ritual, and he said, "Honey, I just see that you love these pearls so much. So I just want to know, do you love me? Do you? Oh, Daddy, I love you so much. Well, do you love me to give me enough? Did you love me enough to give me your pearls? Oh, Daddy, these are my precious pearls. I bought these pearls with my own money, and I sit and I have my tea party in my pearls. No, I don't think I can give them to you. And he said, that's okay, honey, and kissed her goodnight. Another night he came in and he said, honey, so I know you're really loving your pearls, and I'd like to ask for them. Could I have your pearls? No, Daddy, no, I can't give you my pearls. I love my pearls. The third time he came in and he said, honey, I know you love your pearls, and I'd like to have them. Would you be willing to give them to me? And with tears in her eyes, she took her pearls off. And she said, Daddy, I love you so much. I'm going to give you my pearls. And she took them off and she gave them to him with tears running down her face. And he said, honey, I love you so much. That's such a nice, wonderful thing for you to do. And as he took those pearls and he put them into his coat pocket, out of the other coat pocket, he took out the velvet box that he'd been carrying around for weeks, and he opened it up. And there was a string of perfect, real pearls that he'd been wanting to give his daughter, because he saw how beautiful those pearls were, how beautiful they were against her skin, how much they illuminated the joy in her eyes. And he wanted her to have real pearls that he could grow up in and see her wear at her wedding. But to get them, she had to give up her plastic pearls. Do you see? We're told in the New Testament, if we ask for bread, would our Father give us a stone? How much more our Father in heaven will do for us. Not because there's some God out there who's going to fix it for us, but because there's a universal power and presence that we can trust. That we can trust and we can use. That we can deliberately engage in. And we can give up our small idea about our life. And in that surrender, do you see, we're allowing that larger life to move through us. We're engaging in a much bigger, much grander, much more beautiful opportunity for us to dance with life itself, allowing this process to have its way with us. Now, we can deliberately engage in courting Kingdom 3. We can deliberately engage in courting the consciousness of through me that allows us to give up our plastic pearls so that through us can come this really magnificent gift of a fully lived, joyful life. And so our practices are to develop intuition, to learn how life speaks to us. Now, spiritually, in the mystics, they call this the still small voice. You might not hear a voice. You might feel a nudge. You might get a little moment, a little glimmer of something. It might be big. It might be little. It might be visceral in your body. It might be just a flash of a song or something that you read that strikes you. We have to learn how our intuition is speaking to us, because that's the direct line for that spiritual guidance as it's moving through us. And so our practice is to develop intuition. We teach a spiritual technology here called visioning. It's a powerful practice of deliberately opening ourselves up to the impress of that universal mind as how it's seeking to flow through us, how it's seeking to move through us. I often think of it as we are creating a chalice within our being. We're opening ourselves into that chalice into which the wine of spirit is being poured. It's an extraordinary spiritual practice. We teach classes on it. We invite you to, the practitioners can do a visioning with you, help you to learn how to provide this opening. And then finally, the practice is open-handed living. To live life with an open hand. I remember when I first came into Science of Mind, learning the phrase, the little thing that says, love is like a butterfly. If you cling to it, you crush it. But if you hold your hand open and it lands, it was yours. And if it flies away, it didn't belong to you. This is so often what we're doing, right? That's our victim consciousness. We're clinging to it. We're clutching onto it. We think, oh, if I don't have this, what will happen? If it doesn't work out this way, what will happen? It has to be this way. I have to figure this out. But when we live life with an open hand, you see we're engaged in the dance. We're engaged in allowing life to unfold, allowing the process. And oh yes, our hand is out there and we're deliberately involved in it. But we're not clinging, we're not clutching, we're not forcing, we're not making things happen. We're engaged in this universal power and presence as it wants to show up through us. And so when we do that, we get to experience TSRW. This stuff really works. It really works. But you have to work it. This science works. We can use this in our lives. This is our theme for the year, TSRW. I'm already seeing it flying around Facebook, and I'm getting emails and texts. TSRW. This stuff really works when we work it. When we move our littleness out of the way and allow Spirit to move us and move through us, the opportunities and the possibilities are limitless, and the support that we have is extraordinary. Many years ago, I had a man come to me one day and he said to me, how do you do this? How do you just move out on your dreams? I just don't get it. I don't get how you do that. Remember the Indiana Jones movie? Do you remember that Indiana Jones movie? The one where you have to step out on the bridge that isn't there, that's invisible? And you have to step out on the bridge that isn't there. How do you do it? You trust. You step out. You take the Nestea plunge. You fling yourself into the divine. And you trust that it's there. You trust that it's there to lift us. And what happens, do you see, if in Kingdom 2, our choice is being educated, in Kingdom 3, our faith is being educated. We're learning how to trust. We're learning how to just throw ourselves with abandonment into the law and love of the universe and allowing it to carry us. And then when we do that, TSRW. But we have to be willing to let go. We have to be willing to let go and trust. Tracy and Bert are going to be teaching a class on Ralph Waldo Emerson. Many of us were inflicted by Ralph Waldo Emerson in high school and early college, and as poetry and essays, and they missed the whole point. It was only a few years ago where the first American philosophy department was created in a university around Emerson's essays and what came out of that. And So that's another class that you should run to. You should not walk to. There's deep, deep, powerful wisdom. And Emerson says there's no bar between where I end and the oversoul begins. There's no bar because it's the same. There's one life, only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life and your life. So this is the image that I've chosen for that. This is the allowing, the letting, the universal and the individual. Do you see? It goes both directions. And to close, I want to read to you from Emerson. His sentences are just as long. They're just hopefully more poetic than Troward's. I want to read to you from this, from this writing from Emerson. This is from Spiritual Laws and the Oversoul. And I'm going to ask you to just gaze upon this image. A little consideration of what takes place around us every day would show us that a higher law than that of our will regulates events. That our painful labors are unnecessary and fruitless. That only in our easy, simple, spontaneous action are we strong. And by contenting ourselves with obedience, we become divine. Belief and love. A believing love will relieve us of a vast load of care. Oh, my brothers and sisters, God exists. There is a soul at the center of nature and over the will of every person, so that none of us can wrong the universe. The whole course of things goes to teach us faith. We need only obey. There is guidance for each of us, and by lowly listening, we shall hear the right word. Why need you choose so painfully your place and occupation, associates, mode of action, and of entertainment? Surely there is a possible right for you that precludes the need of balance and willful election. For you, there is a reality, a fit place, and congenial people and duties. So place yourself in the middle of the stream of power and wisdom which animates all whom it floats, and you are without effort impelled to truth, to right, and a perfect contentment. Then you put all gainsayers in the wrong. Then you are the world, the measure of right, of truth, of beauty. All goes to show that the soul in us is the background of our being, in which we lie. An immensity not possessed and that cannot be possessed. From within or from behind, a light shines through us upon things and makes us aware that the light is all. We are the facade of a temple wherein all wisdom and all good abide. And when it breathes through our intellect, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. And when it flows through our heart, it is love. And so it is.